Hi everyone, this is Koinzell here. So finally, my Ayato Haran weapon is level 90. Thanks to Hoyoverse getting us on the Shadowette or Statuette materials behind a whole chunk of chasm exploration and stuff and quest clearing, etc. But anyway, the weapon is done. So that's why now I'm doing the rotation videos. Today we will talk, in this video I will talk about the OverVape HyperCarry as well as the Yunjin HyperCarry. So basically the two HyperCarry comps for Ayato that I've covered in my math guides previously. So we'll start with the OverVape HyperCarry. I'll show you guys the stats first, then we look at the rotation. So similar to how I did my rotation videos for previous characters as well, I'll run through one rotation. I'll let you guys see the rotation itself before I start doing a second run through with commentary. Then we'll go on to the Yunjin HyperCarry and a bit of a conclusion. Okay, so first off, let's look at the stats. So 936 EM on my Kazuha, 39 CR 80, so I guess you can call it a bit of a hybrid between crit and EM. ER is 144.7. R5 Raiden Swarm, 4-piece VV, C3, Talent base level 9 on E. This is my Bennett, Burst Crowned, C5, 4-piece Nobliss, using a Aquila at level 90 obviously, and this is stats at level 90. CR and CD is a 1 to 2 ratio, not too high, not too low. ER is 212.8, which is what my focusing stats on. Ayato, 75.4 CR, 231 crit damage, 129 ER. Attack is about 1.7, 1.8, 1.76k. Okay, Haran R1, 4-piece HOD, C0. Talents is 9 and 8, base talent. This is Raiden. Obviously my Raiden is very built, C6. And artifacts is 4-piece emblem. Weapon is R5 engulfing. And these are her stats. Okay, 52 CR, 187.6 crit damage, 269.9, which is 270 ER, plus the 50 ER from the weapon effect, 320 ER. From the weapon effect on R5, you need 314 ER to get a max attack bonus of 120%. Just FYI. So I'm a little bit overkill, but it's okay, because the stats that I have is the best right now, even with this overkill ER. So these are the stats. Let's go on to the rotation itself. So my Ayato is C0R1. Alright, so this is the rotation itself. We'll just let it run through normally, then I'll do one more run with commentary. But just FYI, every time you see Raiden's E, it signifies the start of a rotation. This is a run where I'm going to show you guys not a full 2 rotations, but at least you see enough to know that you get enough energy to cycle through the rotation very nicely, very smoothly. Okay, let's go. Second rotation has started. Everyone is ready to do it first. Okay, so that's the rotation. Very nice and fast. We cleared the floor 12 one. But to be fair, I do have C6R5 Raiden here. Yeah, and the R5 Raiden on Kazuha. Yes, I'm a disgusting wheel. But when I do the math, I factor in some F2P factors as well. Okay, so now we have a C0R1 Ayato. Let's run through the rotation itself. Okay, this time with a slow playback. We will slow it starting from Ayato's build. Turn off the volume so it's not so disjunct. So like OverVape HyperCarry, you have Vaporize, you have Overloader, you have Electro Charge happening, etc. Same rotation as per my math guide with some slight variation where we are doing a Raiden whole E now. Okay, because the wolves are quite scattered, that's why we're doing that. And Ayato just spends his E, and damage number figure is quite close to my math. It's slightly lower because of the fact that this is These mobs are higher than level 19, they are level 95. Okay, Raiden Q. I ended Ayato's E early for the sake of Raiden's Q getting Bennett's buff. That's what you see just now. Unfortunately, both of them are not together, so we can't hit them both together. And now you see we didn't manage to get the M1C, but it's okay. Now we start the second rotation with Ayato's bursts. You see Bennett's burst is ready, Kazuha's burst is ready, and once we do the pull, we use Ayato. And Raiden's burst is just ready as well. So everyone's burst is ready by the time they need to use it in the rotation itself. Okay? And you see very nice damage here. Okay, in case it wasn't clear, right? Look at all the damage figures here. Okay? I'm gonna do a pause for it. You have 13211, that's the Raiden E. You have 18172, that's the Ayato's burst. You have the 20 plus 30k damage, which is Ayato's E. And there's also electric charge damage, overloaded damage as well, 21141. That's the overloaded damage, by the way. I know it's a bit small, sorry. Let's see if I can get a better one. Yes, 21141. Okay, that's the overloaded damage. Yeah, there's 3 different type of figures here. Unfortunately, Vaporize didn't trigger on the Vaporize didn't trigger on this. Oh wait, maybe this is not overloaded. Maybe this may be the Kazuha damage. I may be wrong. Okay, but it's a whole bunch of damage figures, so that's why OverVape HyperCarry works. And I hope you guys see that the rotation works very well. And the stats, if you saw my Ayato, I only have 129 ER and still works perfectly. This is very, very nice. Now let's look at Ayato HyperCarry with Yunjin. We are going to look at the stats for Ayato HyperCarry Yunjin. Like I said, then you'll see that there is some changes to Ayato stats. And let's look at it. Kazuha stats pretty straightforward, not much of a change. Basically there's no change from the OverVape HyperCarry comp. Everything remains the same, 144 ER, 936 EM, those are the CRCD, Bennett as well. Sorry, this is still on the slow-mo, no wonder. Then we have Ayato, and you see that his CRCD is lower, but his ER is increased, it's 141.5. So we got about 12.3% ER increase in return for slightly lower CR and slightly lower CD. Why? Because with Yunjin, without Raiden, you need more ER. Okay, without Raiden, you need more ER. And in fact, you need a lot more if not for the fact that my Yunjin is using Favonius. And you'll see it here. I'm at 2586 defense with 4-piece half effect active. CR is at 56 for the sake of Favonius. ER is 195.5. In fact, my defense was much higher previously, but I sacrificed my defense for the sake of ER because I want the rotation to go well. So this is her with Favonius Lance, R5. 4-piece husk. C6. Talent levels. Well, the talent that's increasing the buff is at level 12. And everything else is the same for my Ayato. Okay, now let's look at the rotation itself. Okay, for the rotation itself, the start of Ayato's Q signifies the start of the rotation. Okay, the start of Ayato's Q signifies the start of one rotation. Let's go.
Kamisato sweet.
Yeah. If you notice, we didn't really do the full 2 rotations, but that's okay because just from the time alone, you know that this DPS is worse off on my Yunjin as opposed to Raiden. But of course, my Raiden is fully stacked. But so is my Yunjin. My Yunjin is also built to her best capability, to buff and to provide energy as well, and also to ensure she herself is able to keep her burst at 100% burst uptime. So I hope you guys can see why I say that the Ayato HyperCarry with Yunjin performs worse than a Ayato HyperCarry with Raiden. Especially if your Raiden is built well enough that you can deal a lot more damage. And I've covered the amount of damage required. All you need to do is to do more than 220 to 280k damage on your Raiden, including the full combo, not just the first hit. If you saw my earlier rotation with Raiden, on the first itself I already hit 280 plus k. It can be even higher, just that we did not get the 4-piece VV on Electro. I cannot guarantee it with all the actions, all the reactions, everything, all the elements happening, but it's okay. You get a picture, right? That if your Raiden is built fully, definitely Raiden does better than Yunjin. And not to mention, Yunjin really does provide energy issues. And I will do the rotation slowly so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, we'll do it this time with a slow playback with commentary. Okay. Ayato's Q, Bennett Q, and an E. Why? Because we need the energy. Unlike in my original rotation, right? We really do need the energy here. Otherwise, I don't know how much ER we need on Ayato. It's gonna be ridiculous. 140 is a place where I'm willing to stop for ER for a DPS character. Now you will see some okay, I didn't manage to talk about that, but let me just skip ahead to go back to where Ayato is going to start his E. You also notice that our Bennett Q expires before the full duration of Ayato's E. Now we are dealing 43k damage with Bennett's E. Oh sorry, Bennett's Q. But we can't get full Bennett Q because we are lacking energy. We had to do E on the characters. Anyway, you need to do minimum 2 E for the effect of Haran anyway. We are doing 3 E's here, but 2 E's is minimum 2 E's are required. So that's that. I mean, the first round the DPS is not too bad on the smaller mobs. We still did manage to clear them by the time we hit our first E. The problem is with the second rotation onwards. Okay, we are funneling. If you notice, I'm funneling Yunjin's energy into Ayato, right? And we use Kazuha to gain energy again for Kazuha. Now we start the second rotation. Ayato Q, Bennett Q, Bennett E, Kazuha. His burst is not ready. That's why I'm using E here. We use 144.7 ER, his burst is still not ready. I'm not using the C1 effect, by the way. I did not use the C1 effect at all. So in this case, you'll see the energy is starting to have some issues here and there, especially if you're not able to funnel the energy into Ayato. You saw, right? Yunjin took the energy. So the problem with HyperCarry is that it does lesser damage. The rotation is also tougher, unless you go build a lot more ER on your Ayato, which feels bad, right? So I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying that OverVape HyperCarry is better than HyperCarry with Yunjin. That's what I'm trying to say here. Because, you know, Raiden really solves a lot of energy issues. Not to mention my Raiden has very high ER. Okay, so anyway, I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. Looking at the ER values, looking at the rotation between the two comps. If you don't have, if for some reason you don't have Raiden, you want to use Yunjin, by all means go ahead. Just know that the Raiden will still perform better. And I can tell you one of the reasons why is because the Ayato's E is too short for a build where you have 3 characters buffing him. For a HyperCarry build with only one main DPS and that main DPS only has 6 seconds of the DPS window, that's bad. There's no sugarcoating it, that's bad. That's why we want to use OverVape HyperCarry to have a Raiden in there as a secondary main DPS, or yeah, secondary main DPS if you want to call it. And the main thing about Raiden is that her E also provides you sub DPS throughout the entire duration. You saw, right? The electro damage, the electro charge figures, it adds up, man. It adds up in the entire rotation. Okay? So, in fact, those damage will be included for the 220 to 280k that I talked about as well. Because Yunjin's damage is not high, if you think about the whole picture. So, okay, I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. If you like the content, remember to like and subscribe for more. I will do the freeze comms rotation next, which is Torgana and Kamisato. Then we'll do one more video to talk about my overview of Ayato so far, how he's performing versus our math, and what are the other pros and cons we can talk about now that we have him with actual gameplay. But that will come as the next video. And yes, I know Yelan information is out, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I do think that Yelan's kit is interesting, and her C6 looks to be much better, much worthwhile than Ayato's C6, at least gameplay wise. I have not done the math. I don't know whether what's the type of value that we'll get from the Constellation, but just looking at the gameplay wise, it does offer a different gameplay, and that's very nice. Okay, so thanks for watching. Bye.